This $17 billion project stretches 1,200 kilometers from the Persian Gulf city of Basra to the Turkish port of Mersin. It is set to be the biggest project to transform the country into a transit center. By shortening the travel time between Asia and Europe, it aims to compete with Egypt's Suez Canal and make Iraq, not Egypt, the main hub for trade. In today's video, we'll discuss how this ambitious corridor will not only boost Iraq's economy, but also reshape global trade routes. Is it true that this project will surpass the Suez Canal? Iraq is planning to build what some are calling a new Silk Road, a modern network of roads and railways stretching from the Persian Gulf through Baghdad, Turkey, and into Europe. And here's an interesting thing. The project is going to cost $17 billion and will involve building one of the largest ports on Earth. The Iraqi Prime Minister and the President of Turkey believe this investment is totally worth it because it has the potential to transform the entire region. Today, we're diving into the Middle East to explore this new Iraqi corridor. This ambitious project could completely change global trade routes. To see why competing with the Suez Canal is such a big deal, you need to know how important it is. Since it opened in 1869, the Suez Canal has been a game changer for Egypt. It links the Red Sea to the Mediterranean, making it the fastest route from Asia to Europe. This has brought Egypt huge benefits, like lots of money from tolls and even new cities. In 1956, Egypt's president decided to take control of the canal, which led to a war and the Suez Canal crisis. Despite this, Egypt's geopolitical status continued to soar to new heights in the latter half of the 20th century. You can see why owning a key part of the world's most valuable trade routes can totally transform a nation, right? It's also why other Middle Eastern countries have a complex relationship with the canal. Nations like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Iraq all use it. Here's a quick fun fact. Iraq even backed Egypt's push to nationalize the canal in 1956. But while they support the canal, these countries are also working on ways to be less dependent on it. What do you think about this strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did you know that back in the 1980s, Saudi Arabia built the East-West pipeline, also known as the Petrol Line? This 746-mile pair of oil pipelines stretches across the Arabian Peninsula, showcasing incredible engineering feats. Now, let's talk about the Suez Canal. It has been a game-changer for trade in the Middle East, but the benefits haven't been equally shared. While trade improved for everyone, Egypt reaped the most benefits, with huge direct revenue, increased foreign investment, and major infrastructure development. Other countries like Jordan have also seen some benefits. For instance, the port of Aqaba handles nearly 900,000 containers a year, thanks to its proximity to the canal. Interestingly, various Middle Eastern nations have been quietly discussing bypassing the canal for decades. But until recently, no one had announced a comprehensive, actionable plan to turn this vision into reality. In April 2023, everything changed. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan visited Baghdad and signed a groundbreaking agreement with Iraqi officials. This wasn't just about boosting economic ties or addressing Iraq's need for water access. The highlight was the development of a new trade corridor. A month later, the world was stunned when the details were revealed. This was perhaps the boldest trade infrastructure plan announced in the Middle East since 1869. Turkey and Iraq plan to build roads and railways stretching from the Persian Gulf all the way into Europe. This ambitious network would start in Iraq's oil-rich south, move through the country, cross the Turkish border, and then connect with Europe's existing networks. So, you can imagine the possibilities: enhanced trade, economic growth, and stronger regional connections. This corridor is set to transform the entire region. In 2022, tolls through the Suez Canal reached a staggering $500,000 for the largest container ships. Talk about colossal stakes. Currently, if you're moving goods from the Iraqi port down of Al-Faisi to Baghdad or beyond, your options are limited to just one route, Freeway 1, built by Saddam Hussein in the 1980s. Aptly named, this freeway stretches over 1,000 kilometers through the remote Iraqi territory, with some sections that are still single carriageways and lacking essential amenities like divider lanes or sufficient service stations. While crucial for local Iraqis, international trade rarely utilizes this route due to its logistical challenges. Its journey is arduous, with sparse accommodations and fuel stops, making it impractical for long-distance travel by gas-powered vehicles. Despite its limitations, Freeway 1 remains a lifeline for many local journeys, highlighting the need for modernization and infrastructure development in the region. Alright folks, let's talk about trains in Iraq. Did you know that their existing train system is painfully slow? Traveling from Basra to Baghdad on the one passenger train can drag on for up to 12 hours. That's less than 30 miles an hour on average. Iraqi leaders have been scratching their heads for years, thinking this route could be the gold standard from the Persian Gulf to Europe. What do you think? Should they overhaul this ancient rail system? In May 2023, Turkey and Iraq unveiled plans for a groundbreaking project, the Grand Canal Port, located at the southern tip of the Al-Paleh Peninsula. This port marks the beginning of a new trade route set to transform global commerce. Originally slated for completion in 2019, Phase 1 is now projected for 2025 due to extensive development efforts. Recently, the Guinness World Book of Records recognized the port's monumental breakwaters as the largest globally, highlighting its scale and ambition. With infrastructure including docks and quays already in place, the port boasts a handling capacity nearing 100 million tons of cargo. This $5 billion endeavor promises to establish itself as Europe's gateway, ushering in a new era of international trade and economic connectivity. Beyond the port, the first major project on the list is creating an entirely new freeway system. Unlike the existing Freeway 1, this new freeway will have up to 6 lanes, separated by a center divider for safety. It will include a main multi-lane highway leading to the airport in Baghdad, featuring comprehensive signage, modern lighting systems, and surveillance systems like speed cameras. This new freeway will be well equipped with numerous amenities, including service stations, rest areas, hotels, and restaurants, making long-distance travel much more convenient and enjoyable. However, this major development is just the beginning. The new freeway will pale in comparison to the new rail system being built alongside it. The 2-track rail system will run parallel to the freeway, passing through the same locations and offering a seamless travel experience. So, not only will you have a state-of-the-art freeway with all the conveniences you need, but you'll also have a modern rail system right next to it, making travel faster and more efficient than ever before. This dual infrastructure project is set to transform transportation in the region, offering you more options and better experiences on the road and rail. The freight train is projected to handle 3.5 million containers annually, carrying 22 million tons of cargo, quite a feat. Though far less than the Suez Canal's 500 million tons per year, this new rail link aims to provide quicker alternatives to conventional routes, potentially challenging the canal's dominance. Meanwhile, the adjacent passenger train is set to revolutionize Iraqi travel with onboard Wi-Fi, fine dining, and notably faster travel times, cutting the journey from Basra to Baghdad to just 2 hours from the current 12. These upgrades promise to reshape both freight and passenger transportation in Iraq. Iraq is set to upgrade its train system from a 30-mile-an-hour speed to a blazing 186 miles per hour, matching the speed of high-speed trains in France. This leap marks the single biggest increase in train speed ever seen in any country. For many Iraqis who have faced travel restrictions and economic challenges, this upgrade will be monumental. A significant portion of the population has never traveled outside the country or experienced air travel, relying instead on slower trains, buses, or sometimes poorly maintained roads. Traveling at nearly 200 miles per hour across Iraq will revolutionize transportation for millions, with the new passenger train expected to carry 13 million passengers annually. This ambitious project spans not just years, but decades, with construction planned in 3 phases, aiming for completion by 2050. During a pivotal visit on April 22, 2024, the Turkish president and Iraqi officials signed a cooperation agreement for the development road project. Funding primarily comes from Qatar and Abu Dhabi, marking a substantial partnership boost. Despite this support, Iraq faces formidable challenges along its new Silk Road, including logistical complexities, geopolitical considerations, and the need for sustainable development practices. Overcoming these hurdles will be crucial to realizing the project's potential as a transformative economic corridor, connecting nations and reshaping regional dynamics for years to come. One of the most pressing challenges confronting Iraq is the pervasive issue of corruption, which has been entrenched over many years of sanctions and conflict. This widespread corruption spans both public and private sectors, presenting a significant hurdle in the effective and transparent allocation of $17 billion, earmarked for a multi-phase infrastructure project. Overcoming this challenge will require robust anti-corruption measures and diligent oversight to ensure funds are used for their intended purposes. Beyond initial challenges, Iraq faces formidable external competition in its efforts to establish a new Silk Road, competing with global players like China and India, both of which are advancing their own ambitious trade corridors between Asia and Europe. Iraq finds itself as the underdog. These proposed routes notably bypass Iraq, posing a direct challenge to its aspirations for regional economic integration and development. India's proposed corridor in particular includes strategic partnerships with Saudi Arabia and the UAE, potentially enhancing the economic prospects of these already prosperous neighborhoods while marginalizing Iraq's role in the regional trade landscape. This geopolitical dynamic underscores the uphill battle Iraq faces in asserting itself as a key player in the future of transcontinental trade routes and economic connectivity. The new Iraqi corridor aims to compete with the Suez Canal. Despite challenges like corruption and regional competition, it plans to transport 13 million passengers and 22 million tons of goods annually, potentially transforming Iraq's economy. Success could elevate Iraq to the ranks of wealthy Middle Eastern nations like Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. The project's economic impact is projected to be significant, with expectations of generating approximately 100,000 new jobs and adding $4 billion annually to Iraq's GDP. This substantial boost would contribute substantially to Iraq's economy, which had a GDP of nearly $265 billion in 2022. By enhancing transportation capabilities and fostering trade opportunities, Iraq stands to capitalize on its strategic location and emerge as a pivotal player in regional commerce. The corridor represents a bold step towards economic diversification and prosperity, potentially transforming Iraq's future trajectory. That's all for today's update on the incredible infrastructure developments in Iraq. From the new 6-lane freeway to the state-of-the-art rail system, these projects are set to transform travel and trade in the region. What are your thoughts on the Iraq Silk Road project? Do you think it will significantly boost the country's economy and connectivity? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting updates on groundbreaking projects. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.